A new neighbor began watching me, carrying a rifle, and leaving dead fish in my mailbox. Despite reporting him, the harassment escalated. Original post February 4, 2019. A few weeks ago, a new neighbor moved in across the street. To my knowledge, it's one guy who is about 40 to 50 years old. For the past few weeks since he moved in, he has been taking walks around the neighborhood, and every once in a while when he passes my house, my living room has a window that can see into the front yard. He stands and watches me. When I go outside to investigate, he just says something to the tune of admiring my shingle work, or stargazing. He has used these excuses before. He never comes directly onto my property when he does this. A few days ago I came home, and when I went to pull the trash cans back from the street, my neighbor was sitting on his front porch with a rifle in his lap in plain view. I ask him if there is anything wrong, and he just nods at me. I went back into my house and called the police. Now the spot I called the police from was in my kitchen. The only way to look into my kitchen from a window is if you walked up to my living room window and peered to the left. After hanging up the phone, I turned towards the living room and saw my neighbor about 2 feet away from my window, peering in with a rifle. I run into my room and locked the door. After the police arrived, I told them what happened, and they told me that since he wasn't pointing a gun at me, that it wasn't a threat. The most they can do is trespass him, but by the time they arrived, he left his house. Yesterday I came home at around 10 p.m. and found a dead fish in my mailbox. Without any evidence, how can I stop my neighbor from harassing me? Can I get a restraining order against him? Relevant comments. Comment 1. Make a police report about the dead fish. Make the police take the report. Even if you don't actually know for sure who put it there, you have your suspicions. Tell them. If they refuse to take a report, calmly escalate the matter to an officer with a higher standing, and don't leave until a report is taken. Keep all of the police reports you make. And, as everyone else has suggested, definitely get a good home security system, preferably with several cameras. Comment 2. I don't know shit about the law, but I'd say you should get a camera installed and probably keen any evidence of things put through your door. Then speak to the police lawyer to see what your options are. Up to a deleted comment. I'm fully prepared for any future aggression, but I am looking for a non-violent route first. I don't think I had cause in any of my previous encounters to use force. Since then I got cameras with night vision, motion detection alerts, window tint for my living room, and big thick curtains. I also got a few of those stickers for the area of my house that says "Insured by Glock" to deter any intruders. Now the first night I got my cameras, I checked them the morning after to see how they worked. I made sure that there are no blind spots and all of them are fixed with no movement at all. When I checked the cameras the morning before, someone walked up to them wearing all black including a mask and pointed them down. When I left for work that morning, someone spray painted a knife on my mailbox. I filed a report with the postal inspector and called the police. The police said without any video evidence, there wasn't much I could do. That night, I woke up to a loud noise hitting my house every so often. I checked the cameras and couldn't see anything, so I went out and investigated and noticed small holes in my house. Looking around the ground, I see discharge rounds. I called the police again and confirmed that it was 22 shots from far away. I have a concrete home, so that would explain the lack of penetration. The police offer to have a car patrol the neighborhood and sit outside for 3 days and nothing happens. I asked them if I could get a protective order from my neighbor who has a history of being hostile, and they said since I had no direct evidence implicating him, that I can't file it out of nowhere despite previous confrontations. I filed another report with a different officer and got the same spiel. I asked them to take fingerprints of the bullets then, and they chuckled and put the bullets in a bag and left. 3 days ago, I heard shots again and checked the cameras and noticed they were facing my neighbor's house just where I put them, and I saw a silhouette shooting from the middle of my street before stopping and running to the back of my neighbor's house. After that I called the police in my room while watching the cameras. The police come and walked me through the same BS as last time even after I showed them the cameras. They knocked on my neighbor's door and he claimed he heard and saw nothing. After they left I asked him if he was telling the truth and he looked at and smiled. It was very unnerving. I don't know what to do at this point. Top comment. OP. A suggestion for you might be to purchase a trail camera, essentially an outdoor camera that runs on batteries and records to a memory card, and try to place it somewhere non-obvious on the outskirts or edge of your property. A few other thoughts: go to your local county courthouse and actually inquire there to what the requirements are for a restraining and/or no contact order. The police may not be the best persons to ask about if your neighbor qualifies for one. Contact your local chief of police and let them know your property has been vandalized and shot at. Ask if there's anything else that can be done. Final update. April 23, 2019. 3 months later. This similar behavior is something I suffered over the course of 1 to 2 months in Florida. I made posts in LA asking for help and got reasonably good answers. Unfortunately, my neighbor pushed it too far and tried to break into my house in the middle of the night after a series of weird escalating behavior. As a result, I shot him multiple times. I was questioned and interviewed over 7 hours and then released due to Florida's stand your ground laws. Turns out the neighbor was mentally ill and the family is currently trying to sue me for wrongful death. Hope this goes better for Leo P than me. I should have just moved. Now to the next story, story 2. Am I the asshole for telling my brother he'd never measure up to our late father after he lectured me about drinking and quitting soccer? Original post March 11, 2019. I have 3 older siblings, 2 sisters who are 28, and my older brother Chris, who is 26. I am the youngest child at 16. 3 years ago our dad died of cancer, after a pretty rough battle. Being 11 when my dad got sick, I remember it being a pretty scary time, not always understanding what was happening, but the one thing I always knew was that Chris was there for me. Obviously it was also a very difficult time for Chris, but he really looked out for me during that time. And Chris has continued to be the same, great guy and awesome big brother to this day. So, 3 weekends ago I went to a party, drank too much, and I got drunk for the 3rd time in my life. I called Chris and asked him if he could come get me when I wanted to leave, and my friends, one of which was our designated driver who was sober, wanted to stay. Chris came to pick me up, worried that I was going to get in a car with a drunk driver if he didn't. The next day he lectured me on my drinking problem, and getting into cars with drunk drivers. Things got heated, because I felt like he was assuming a lot. Because I'm a junior in high school and I've only drank 3 times at parties, which I feel is pretty normal, and I wasn't going to get in a car with a drunk driver. My DD was completely sober, so I feel like I was more responsible than he was giving me credit for. But yes, I was drunk enough to think calling him at 10 p.m. out of the blue to pick me up because I was tired was a good idea. And then 2 weeks ago Chris found out I quit the soccer team. He started lecturing me on commitments, and talking about how I need to be doing an extracurricular for college, and I shouldn't just quit because of laziness. And then things got heated, and he started talking about my drinking problem again, and then talking about my room being messy, and then we were really arguing and he was accusing me of being disrespectful, and then I fucked up. I lost it and told Chris he wasn't my dad and I didn't need him lecturing me, and how he thinks he could replace dad, but he'll never be half the man dad was. I was mad and just looking for something mean to say. Chris left my room, and about 30 minutes later came back in and apologized for overstepping. It was clear that he had been crying, but I was still mad and couldn't bring myself to apologize even though I knew that I should and that I didn't mean what I said. Chris left and went back to his place and we didn't talk for 3 days. 3 days later I finally did the right thing and texted him a heartfelt apology for what I had done and said, thanked him for always caring enough to be there for me, and told him I spoke with the coach about rejoining the soccer team. He texted back hours later. Thank you, that means a lot. Since that time we've only spoken sporadically over text, whereas we used to speak all day. I've asked him if he wants to hang out, and he's always busy or he says maybe tomorrow, and then when I text him the next day he doesn't reply until it's too late. Chris has come to every soccer game I've had over the past couple of years, but he's missed the last 2. I have apologized again by text. I would do it in person, but I haven't seen him since our fight, whereas normally I see him a couple times a week. One of our things has been going to see Marvel new releases together. I asked him if he wants to go next weekend and he said his girlfriend surprised him and took him this weekend. So I replied back, okay, maybe we can do something else together? I'd love to hang with you. I miss you. No reply yet. I know what I said was completely fucked up and wrong. Besides being a very mean thing to say, it's not true at all. He's great. I understand why he's upset, and I know it's my fault, but now I don't know how to make things better. Chris was overbearing at times, but I would give anything to go back to that right now. Is there anything more I can do to fix this? TLDR got into a fight with my older brother a couple of weeks ago because I felt like he was trying to parent me. We got into an argument and I told him that he'll never be the man our deceased father was. This hurt my brother's feelings, and things haven't been the same since. Relevant comments: you broke his heart. And I don't say that to make you feel guilty, I say that so you can understand that a text message apology is not remotely enough. You need to go to him, not wait for him to come over. You literally need to go to his place and apologize in person. OOP, you're absolutely right that a text apology is not enough for what I've done. I want to apologize in person because he deserves one. So should I just show up to his place uninvited? Because I've thought about doing that. I asked to come over before and he didn't reply until it was already late, saying he had just got home, but next time I could. Update May 23, 2019, 2 months later. I thought I would provide an update to my first post. Someone advised me to write my brother a letter apologizing, which I did. I apologized for being mean and hurtful, and that I was wrong for doing that. I also got him a separate card and wrote a message thanking him for everything he's done for me. I went to his house with my letter and card when I found out he was home to go talk to him, but unfortunately when I got there he was gone already, so I slid them under the door. When he got back home he found them and read them, and then he called me to arrange to come see me. He came over here and I apologized in person for what I said. He was very straightforward with me and honest about my actions. He explained that the reason he had been avoiding me lately is because he needed some time apart because he was beginning to not like me. He said loved me, but he didn't want to be around me sometimes. That was pretty hard to hear. He said that lately I've just not been very nice. The comment about our dad was by far the worst, but I make other snappy comments. He had tried to brush it off as me being just as a teenager, but had now decided it was best to let me know. Being a teenager is not an excuse to be a constant asshole to everybody at home, is how he put it. He gave a few examples and looking back he was absolutely right. It was pretty upsetting to hear. I know he wasn't saying it to upset me, and I was thankful that he was telling me, or at least I'm thankful now. I promised that I would check my attitude. He said a little more thoughtfulness was all I needed, and that even though sometimes I act like an asshole he knows I'm not one. After we finished talking we hugged. He told me not to forget that he loves me and that I'm great. Since then I've been trying to be more considerate. I really am trying to follow the advice he gave me. It's been a couple months now, and I'm happy to say that it's working. Our mom told me a couple weeks ago that I'm a joy to be around. In the car earlier today my brother told me that it's been really nice spending time with me lately. So that's good news. TLDR apologized to my brother for the terrible thing I said to him. He warned me that I was turning into someone that he didn't want to be around, even though he loved me. I've worked on fixing my attitude over the past 2 months, and today my brother told me it's nice to hang out with me these days. Edit. Wow, I wasn't expecting this to get big. Thanks for the advice, and for the gold. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.